Calaroga Shark Media.
From Washington, D.C., where to be a true Caesar, you need to make a salad. This is Ballot.
It turns out Donald Trump might have fired a chef over a Caesar salad. Let's hit this. Hi, I'm Patrick Gutfield, and I'm wondering, so why did Trump supposedly fire the chef? Not because the salad was bad, apparently everyone liked it, but because it wasn't prepared the Trump way. I guess when you're the president, lettuce becomes a matter of national security. According to the book Mar-a-Lago, inside the gates of power at Donald Trump's presidential palace, Trump confronted this chef in a hostile manner and then proceeded to make his own Caesar salad to demonstrate the proper technique. It's the culinary equivalent of saying you're fired while aggressively tossing romaine. The chef was reportedly axed the next day and eventually went on to work for Celine Dion. Talk about a career upgrade, going from making salads for Trump to cooking for someone whose heart will go on. I bet Celine never throws a fit about how the anchovies are arranged. What's particularly baffling about this whole saga is that the salad was actually well received by guests. So this wasn't even about quality, it was just about Trump wanting things done his way. Andre Rush, a former White House chef, said that when it comes to Trump's meals, you have to be political on that. Imagine needing a political strategy just to serve someone lunch. Now, what could possibly be so offensive about a Caesar salad? Is it the anchovies? The raw egg? The fact that it's named after a dictator who wasn't him? The answer might lie in Trump's well-documented eating habits. This is a man who reportedly considers vegetables garbage and has commanded that none accompany his well-done steak with ketchup. Because nothing says sophisticated palate like burning a perfectly good piece of meat and then covering it in tomato sugar. Trump's love affair with McDonald's is legendary. He reportedly enjoyed their menu items multiple times a day during his first presidential campaign. Big Macs, Filet-O-Fish sandwiches, Egg McMuffins, basically everything on the menu except the salads. You know, those garbage vegetable things. Some say Trump's fast food fixation stems from fears of being poisoned, believing that the mass-produced nature of places like McDonald's somehow protects him. Others think it's a calculated move to seem relatable to everyday Americans. See, I eat the same processed patties you do. I'm just like you, except for the gold toilet and private jet. So what's the moral of this story? If you ever find yourself cooking for Donald Trump, remember, vegetables are suspicious, well done is the only done, and whatever you do, don't get creative with the Caesar salad. Unless you want to end up working for a Grammy-winning Canadian superstar instead. Well. Looks like the U.S. Treasury just found $258 billion in its couch cushions. That's right, April brought us the second largest monthly budget surplus in American history. It's like when you check your coat pocket and find a $20 bill, except in this case, the coat is the entire federal government. The Treasury collected $850.2 billion while spending $591.8 billion. That's a surplus of $258.4 billion. It's the fiscal equivalent of your dad turning down the thermostat and yelling, "We're not made of money." And then finding out that actually, yes, we kind of are. So is President Trump's plan working? Well, before we start planning the mission accomplished banner, let's look at where this money came from. Turns out, April is when people pay their taxes. Who knew? Individual income taxes brought in $537 billion. Social Security and retirement receipts added $184 billion, while corporate taxes contributed $94 billion. Customs duties, which reflect Trump's beloved tariffs, generated $15.6 billion. That's more than double what they collected last April, but still just a drop in the bucket compared to what Americans fork over in income tax. So Trump's tariffs aren't exactly funding the government, your paycheck is. On the spending side, Uncle Sam still had plenty of bills to pay. Social Security cost $132 billion, while we spent $89 billion on interest payments alone. That's right, just the interest on our debt cost almost as much as the $82 billion we spent on Medicare or the $70 billion for national defense. It's like making the minimum payment on your credit card, except the credit card is the size of Mount Rushmore. Despite this one great month, the overall fiscal year still looks like my bank account after Black Friday. Since October, the government has spent $4.159 trillion. while only bringing in $3.11 trillion. That's a deficit of $1.049 trillion. So we're still spending money like a teenager with their parents' credit card. And our national debt? It's now $36.212 trillion. That's not just a number anymore. It's a philosophical concept. It's so large that if you counted $1 per second, it would take you 1,148,000 years to count it all. You'd start counting during the lower Paleolithic era and finish sometime after we've all evolved into beings of pure energy. The takeaway? To run a surplus, you need to earn more than you spend. For individuals, that's achievable advice. For the government, it's like telling Godzilla to tiptoe through Tokyo. But hey, for one glorious month, we actually did it. Let's enjoy this moment before we go back to our regularly scheduled financial apocalypse.
What happens when one of the most powerful men in music is accused of some of the most serious crimes imaginable? Check out the new podcast, Did He Do It? Following the federal sex crimes trial of Sean Diddy Combs, coming to you straight from New York City. Every day I'll take you inside the courtroom where prosecutors say Combs ran a criminal enterprise of sex trafficking, coercion, and abuse, using his fame, fortune, and influence to silence victims and control lives. We'll cover the big stories and the small moments that can shift the verdict. The trial has begun. The questions are piling up, and every day we'll be asking the same thing. Did he do it? Follow now wherever you get your podcasts.
Tired of doom scrolling? Want news that won't make you want to live in a bunker? Check out 5 Good News Stories, where they find the silver lining in a world that's usually lined with something much less pleasant. The gang at 5 Good News Stories dig through the headlines to find 5 stories that prove humanity hasn't completely lost its mind. It's pretty much the opposite of this show. From scientific breakthroughs nobody's talking about to random acts of kindness that restore your faith in humanity, all delivered with the cutting wit you deserve. 5 Good News Stories, because sometimes the news doesn't have to suck. Subscribe to 5 Good News Stories wherever you get your podcasts. Well, here's a story that'll make you grip your armrests a little tighter on your next flight. A Lufthansa plane with 200 passengers flew without a pilot for 10 minutes. I'm not talking about autopilot. I'm talking about no conscious human being at the controls whatsoever. The incident happened last February, but Spanish investigators are just now releasing the details, probably because they needed time to change their underwear after writing the report. Here's what went down. The captain of this Frankfurt to Seville flight decided to take a bathroom break when they were about 30 minutes from landing. Now, we've all been there. Nature calls, and sometimes it doesn't send a text first. But while the captain was away, his 38-year-old first officer lost consciousness. Just completely checked out. When the captain tried to return to the cockpit 8 minutes later, he couldn't get in despite entering the security code 5 times. That's like forgetting your phone password, except instead of being locked out of Instagram, you're locked out of piloting an aircraft. A flight attendant tried using the intercom to contact the first officer, but got no response. Meanwhile, inside the cockpit, the co-pilot was having what investigators described as a sudden and severe incapacitation due to a neurological disorder that apparently causes seizures. Not exactly the kind of medical information you want to discover at 35,000 feet. Eventually, the first officer regained consciousness and opened the door, looking pale, sweating, and moving strangely, which, coincidentally, is exactly how I look after watching airline safety videos. The captain diverted the flight to Madrid so the co-pilot could get immediate medical attention, and all 200 passengers probably needed immediate access to the bathroom themselves after learning what had happened. Portions of today's show were made with the help of AI. In other words, nobody's flying this plane either.